Wendell and I met in high school, and I
Where did you go?
Morristown High School. I
And
was
what
in the
year did you
class of
graduate?
53, and Wendell was in the class of 52, but Wendell had messed up, so he had a lot of classes with the kids I went to school with, though we never had classes together. But we both went to the roller skating rink
Where was that at?
and Farm Park on Saturday nights, and that's where we got to know he was a really good skater. So I loved to skate with him, and nobody in the high school thought, because I was very bashful and
Really?
led my own life and had my group of friends, and we went into Manhattan every weekend, and Wendell hung out with a bunch of, what would you call them today, hoods, the tough guys.
I actually see it the other way around, but
No, and so
like
they
you were the
thought,
tough one.
no, that, well, he created a monster, so, because I'm his creation, so, but, so nobody at school ever suspected that we were seeing each other until uh, the night he graduated. I should have known, he was so cheap then. He didn't ask me for a date until after his senior prom because he didn't want to waste his money on tickets and getting a corsage until he was sure that he could depend on
Did you
me.
go to prom together or no?
So he went to my senior prom,
All right.
but, and then he had to twist his arm because he didn't want to wear a shirt and tie, and of course he had to rent a tux. So then he finally agreed to go, and then I made my dress, and I said, "What color should I make my
You
dress?"
made your dress? What does that mean?
Uh,
You like literally made your dress
yeah,
for prom?
yeah. Well, I made most of my clothes when I was in high school, so that's
Okay.
why I was written up. I was one of the best dressed because I made all my own clothes. So, but so anyway, he said, "Well, you better make it white because you're never going to be able to afford a white wedding gown, a wedding gown when we get married." So I made this white tulle dress, layers of tulle. I mean, it was in those days, Vogue patterns were the elite, and I had a Vogue pattern. Sewed it on a treadle sewing machine, and then when we got married the following year, he was, we had already bought a piece of land because we both had this idea that we were going to build a house, which we did. But that took all our money, so we didn't have a lot of money left when we got married. But my father's friends at Bell Labs kept asking him about the reception, so my father sprung for the reception at a place that the Bell Labs guys approved of. And I bought a lottery, shared it with somebody for what they called a 50-50 club, where you buy tickets and then you get half the money. And so I won $50 6 weeks before our wedding, and I used it to buy a wedding gift. Got a leftover special because we got married in August, so the June gowns were on sale, and that's how we got married.
How have you stayed married for as long as you have?
Because we're not afraid to fight with each other.
Is it 50-50 who wins over the other?
um, I don't know. I think it's, I think we're both incredibly honest, and so we there were never any surprises because we both knew each other and we both were honest with each other, and so there was never a shock. Like most couples I knew who broke up, there was some secret usually broke them up, or some disaster happened that the one hadn't told the other one about, or even sometimes a wife in those days, fur coats were big. The wife would have bought herself a fur coat and didn't tell the husband and stuff like that. We just never had that. And we both loved homes and architecture. So we would ride out. We went to every new model home they built in this whole area. So that's why I'm so familiar with all the developments and all the homes, because that's how we taught ourselves
Yes.
architecture. And because Wendell worked for a printing company, and he thought I could do anything, and I was obedient. And so he would say, he brought home a roll of paper, a special ruler, and some pencils, and he said, "We need blueprints, draw them." So I did. And that was kind of like everything we did. When he was hanging around with his stock car buddies, he would have me paint the numbers on the sides of the stock cars. And because they had to go to work on Monday, I would paint them but I was creative because I figured out how to mix poster paint with shoe polish. And so I painted the numbers on so they looked very professional with the shoe polish paint, and then they could go to the car wash and they would wash the numbers off the day after the races and use their car to go back to work again. And then the guys always loved the look on the guys in the car wash, because when they went, they thought it was a real paint job, and then when the car went through the car wash and all the numbers would disappear, they'd always get a reaction. So we had just a life full of adventures of whatever happened to come upon at any one given time. So, and then when we moved to Franklin Corners, it was just a quirky group of people who were as odd as we were in different ways. And so we just all hit it off. And
So I guess my question would be, Wendell,
yeah,
and this is a loaded question, what do you love about Marge?
Her mind.
I think most people do.
yeah.
I think most people do. She has, like, everybody wants to talk to you.
He saw my mind as a toy, and he loved playing with it. So, and I didn't realize that I was different than anybody else. And so I loved doing different things. So he would think of things for me to do, and I would have fun doing them, and it worked out for both of us. So, and then I found out he wasn't so dumb either when.
I think you guys are an amazing pair.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine you two, like, not together. You just seem perfect.
I think that was probably because we both kind of hung out with, I don't know, what would you call it, low-class crowds. And I think the thing that clicked between the two of us when we were out with the groups was that we always had some sort of a meeting of the minds, as you would say. And so somehow we'd wind up, we'd go out with a gang, but then the two of us would pair off. So,
Wendell, if you can think of one word that describes Marge, what would you say?
I can think of a few.
You can fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
I think most people are
Wendell
speechless
was a
with you.
natural leader, so he was always the organizer, and I learned a lot of those skills from him. But that's why at work he would wind up like he would run a printing press, and then he ran the whole printing department because he had a way of getting other people to work. And I guess I gave him a lot of practice, but everything he did. So even when I ran for politics, it was Wendell who ran the campaign. So he'd sit on my porch, he'd organize, he'd tell the different neighbors to come over, he'd decide, how we would do the different things. Was like, and I guess nowadays it wouldn't be too popular, but I'd have like 4 men sitting on the porch telling me what to do.
I can just tell you that I've always so admired the two of you, the love and the commitment, and just the fact that you've been together for all the years that you've been together, and you still hold hands when you walk down the street, and I just want to thank you because I think you show a lot of us what it's like to still be in love, and that there is a happily ever after.
And I think we very much depend on each other in so many ways. I mean, he's my strength, so like I seem to have the ability, I'll stand up and speak, but if I didn't have him, he went to every council meeting with me. So, and sometimes typical politics, when things were going well in town, nobody would bother to go to the meetings. And so Wendell would be the only one there, and they'd call him Mr. Morristown. But then they'd laugh because I would take a position on the council that he didn't agree with, and he'd practically jump up in his seat, making motion, no.
Is that true, Wendell?
And I'd ignore him.
I got this. So what do you hope for in 2018? What are you looking forward to?
Just getting from one day to the next, because I've learned I'm not very good at predicting things. Reading my old Christmas letters where you say, next year we're going to do this, and next year we're going to do that, and we never do them. So, but each day is a new day, and overall, I find the character of people in general, if you give them a chance, are wonderful. So every place we go, we meet new people or old friends, and there's a goodness in people, and I think that's what makes up the United States. And I think one of the problems with Trump was that he was reaching for the lowest common denominator, and so he was cultivating people to dislike each other. But I think the likes are going to overtake the dislikes, because after a while it gets boring being angry, it gets boring being mad, and it's so much more fun just to help each other and like each other and enjoy each other's company.
I couldn't agree more.
So
You're from welcome. Me to the two of you, thank you. I love you both so much. And
well, you've been you're a typical example of if you let people into your lives, something special can happen. So,
I just want you both to know how much you've made a difference in the 3 of our lives, and thank you. I love you. I love you.
We love you too.
So Happy New Year. I think we're only like 3
you.
hours away, 4 hours, give or take.
We're going to spend it in bed.
All right.
I took my dirty comforter and turned it upside down so the clean side was up for the new year.
Perfect. Start new.
Right.